Playa TV.
What's happening? I'm Leo Playa and you're watching Playa TV. Alright, today's review is on the new Terminator trailer for Terminator Genisys. I don't know if you guys know much about my reviews. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the Force Awakens one or stuff like that. I'm pretty brutally honest when it comes to reviewing trailers and stuff that I'm going to review because, well, at the end of the day, it's my review. End of really. So, right, so I'm going to get into this trailer. It's the second trailer to come out for this film. It's the fifth Terminator. We already know from the first trailer that it kind of reboots the events of the first film, and it also contains an Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator, the T-800. But because he's been sent back further before to look after Sarah Connor as a kid, those Terminators actually age like humans. So he's still an endoskeleton underneath, but his skin's starting to age and his hair's going grey, which is basically for them to be able to get a 68-year-old Arnold Schwarzenegger to still be in a Terminator film, let's be honest. But anyway, I am going to go and see this film. So I've watched the second trailer. First of all, the trailer starts off with, you see Sarah Connor talking to a young John Connor who's like a toddler or something, 5, 6, maybe 7, telling him not to look back. So I'm not sure where this all ties up with the story, the Terminator story. Is this scene supposed to be before the events of Terminator 2? Where it is obviously, but after Terminator 1 and in between Terminator 1 and Terminator 2, because obviously end of Terminator 1 she's pregnant. Terminator 2, John Connor's like 10 or 12 years old, played by Edward Furlong. This completely different kid, and he's younger. I really have no, like these trailers, they've I don't know where they're going with these films, if I'm being honest. They're just they're a bit all over the shop at the moment, or maybe that's what they're leading us to believe. So then we cut to a scene, the scenes of Judgment Day happening. You see all the bombs flying all over the world. You see some taking off, some exploding. Then you see the aftermath, which is that bridge from America. I don't know what it is, that red bridge. You probably know what I'm saying. It's written there, because by this point I would have Googled it and worked it out. So yeah, does it that you see the aftermath and like everything's ruined, and then you see the future John Connor, the guy who's playing John Connor in this film. Now, obviously we've had a few people play John Connor so far. And when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about John Connor in the future. You've seen a lot of people playing his future character when he's in the Resistance. You've got Thomas Dekker, I believe it is, who's from Terminator 2. You just see him in like one scene. And then in Terminator 3, Nick Stahl actually does play John Connor in the future. Terminator 4, Terminator Salvation, you got Christian Bale as John Connor, the blockbuster John Connor, as I call him, because and then this film, we've got this guy playing John Connor. Now, one thing that has stayed true to all of these different versions of John Connor in the future is he's got that scar. You see it first in Terminator 2, then it's carried on into Nick Stahl's portrayal of the older John Connor, and he's got the same scar. In Terminator Salvation, you actually see how that scar happens. You see that Terminator scratching it into Christian Bale's version. He's still got the scar in this film, I'll give him that, but it seems like the scar has just gotten bigger. Like, where it was just there, now it's there and a bit there, and I don't know. Maybe I've gone a bit too far with that. I don't know. That's my only opinion about it, really. They've gone a bit crazy. Then you see clips of them saying, you see the war in the future, and there's some specific night. John says they're going to take back their world. From the books I've read of the Terminator, or like the backstory from the first Terminator film, was which is what Kyle Reese says. He he said they had won the war, and then Skynet sends the original Terminator back in time. I'm assuming this is the war that they're about to win because straight after this scene, you go to the time machine scene where they realise the Terminator has been sent back in time, and then you get introduced to the new Kyle Reese, Jay Courtney, Australian actor, as far as I know. I'm sure he's a great actor. I'm sure he's very good at what he does. But for me, he don't look like Michael Biehn. He don't look like the original Kyle Reese. And that bugs me. That really bugs me because, like, this film, they're going full on out to make sure they got Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the film. So his character it looks the same. He might be a bit older, but the Terminator is Arnold Schwarzenegger. The girl who plays Linda Hamilton from the Game of Thrones stuff, I haven't seen any of them, so I can't comment on this. She resembles a young Linda Hamilton. You can see it. You see her. You see Linda Hamilton. Yeah, there's a little bit of a resemblance. Jai Courtney, it looks nothing like Michael Biehn. His personality, from what I've seen of the trailer, he doesn't have that sort of that sadness that Michael Bihn's character Kyle Reese had, that having grown up in the war and then going back in time and seeing how the world used to be, and he's got that bit of that scarred him emotionally, I suppose, and the fact that he's been in love with Sarah Connor. You don't get all these traits in this new guy. In fact, you just see an army man. I don't know, he just looks a little bit more Hollywood than what Kyle Reese's, Michael Bihn's Kyle Reese looked like. Then you see the scenes of Kyle Reese going back in time, arriving in the 80s. I think it was 1984, the first Terminator film. And you see the scenes that you see in the first trailer. He's in the department store like he did in the first film. But then then they've got like a T1000, an Oriental looking T1000. I don't even know if it's a T1000, but that's what I'm going to call it because it's liquid metal or whatever. And then you see that scene where Sarah Connor comes in with that van, saves him, actually says to him, "Come with me if you want to live," which is like a complete mirror from the first film. Then you get introduced to the old Terminator, the old Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's like, "Nice to meet you," smile. Kind of a bit amusing. Yeah, you can obviously see they're trying to make him still look a bit robotic. I think that's kind of going to mirror some of the stuff from the second film where John Connor's trying to teach the T-800. And I think there's a deleted scene where he tries to smile. It's impossible. Then you get old Arnie versus young Arnie. So I think in this scene, that's supposed to be the original Terminator coming back in time. And when he comes back in time, old Arnie's waiting there to kick his ass. It looks like that's going to be a pretty cool fight. I'd like to see how they're going to get around that. I mean, obviously in Terminator Salvation, they used Arnold Schwarzenegger's face to superimpose him onto another person to make a T-800, because obviously he was the governor at the time. So that does look like it's going to be the highlight of the film. Old Terminator versus young Terminator. Old Arnie versus young Arnie. I think that's going to kick ass. That's going to be a really good scene, actually. This bit I don't get. You then get John Connor, the plot twist of John Connor. He turns up in the past. Arnie shoots him, and then you realise he's not human. But he's not a Terminator. There's something and he says something about, "You taught me to adapt to survive." So I think this is now the point where the plot twist in this film is John Connor is now the villain, which is crazy. Then you cut to the bridge scene. There's a lot of action there. This looks like it's going to be a good scene. I'm not going to get too much into that. this is the bit I'm going to get into. Then you see what John's turned into, and it seems like he says he's not machine or man, he's more. So he's not a Terminator, he's not human. What the hell is he? And then you have conversations between Sarah and Kyle saying they need to save him, need to change him back to what he was. And then the end of the scene, you got the helicopter chase, which is John chasing after Sarah and Kyle. And then the very last scene is you see John walking out of an explosion fire and sort of turning slowly back in, which is obviously a bit of a take on Terminator 2 when you see the T-1000 walking out, turning from liquid metal back into a human form. Right, my honest opinion about what I've seen of these two trailers is I don't get it. I don't know where they're going with this. It looks interesting. I'm definitely going to go and watch it because I want to find out what happens in the latest part of the Terminator story. I don't know if I'm going to be impressed. They've given away a lot of plot points already. Like they could have kept that thing about John Connor until you went to see it in the cinema. I mean, like, just to think about the first time when you first saw, when you first realised that Arnie's a good guy in Terminator 2, I was like, wow, I was about 14. I was like, wow, I didn't see that coming. So they're giving away way too much in these two trailers. So it's answering me two questions. Are they giving away too much? So by the time we get there, it's going to, like, the feeling I have is I've seen these trailers like I've looked up online for the spoilers, so I'm not surprised. So by the time I get to the film, I'm not going to be surprised that John's the baddie now. I really don't know where they're going with this. I mean, there may be way more spoilers out there, and there may be way more plot twists in this film. Who knows? It's just, I don't know. It's just very. It's got me intrigued. I'll give you that. It's got me intrigued because, yeah, I don't know where they're going with the plot. It's all over the shop for me, and I'm just going to go and see the film out of pure, like, intrigueness, which I'm supposed. So I'm going to give this trailer about 6.5. No, 6. 6 out of 10. Because I'm a bit skeptical. I'm a bit confused about the fact they're giving away so many plot points in the trailers already. But it does make me want to go and see the film just to know what the hell's going on. So there you go. 6 out of 10. Alright, well, thanks for watching. And if you want to watch the trailer, I hope that works. Click that link there. Alright, wicked. I'm Leo Playa. You're watching Playa TV. Peace.